Hello everybody and welcome back to KXP where we play Kerbal Space Program in third person. So I am officially back from my trip and excited to get into some brand new content, new episodes of the series, and today I've got a fun one. I decided rather than aggressively pursuing Duna or Eve or any of the other celestial bodies outside of Kerbin's sphere of influence, no, today we are going to be doing a mission at home for nothing else but glory. So this will be a two-part joint effort between KXP and POV. We'll get more into the specifics of it later, but all we need to know is that the POV crowd accumulated the science points necessary to allow both agencies to attempt today's mission. And in order to do that, we are going to need some better aerodynamics and better jet plane engines, so we went ahead and unlocked that as well. We are going to have to upgrade our runway and hangar using our own dime, however. So the idea is I wanted to build a rocket car and then see how fast we can take that up on the North Pole, and I decided to challenge both the KXP and the POV crowd to see who can drive it faster. Now it's going to be the same rocket car for both groups, that way everything is equal except for the pilots and the piloting skills to see which perspective can drive it better. So we created the Speed Racer Mach 4, more commonly known around the hangar as the Landshark. But it has a wide base to hopefully keep us centered and keep us low to the ground. We've got thrusters both backwards and on the top, and those top thrusters will keep us pushed down onto the surface at high speeds to keep us from flipping over. It is a little tough to drive. It does like to wiggle left and right, so we will have to do some piloting ourselves, and there are some separatrons and a parachute on the front, so that way if something goes wrong, we can jettison our cockpit and keep our pilots safe. Because this is for fun, but you know, this is also for keeps. So whatever happens in the North Pole will haunt us forever. So the focus on today's episode was to show you this rocket car that we have. It took a lot of trial and error trying to get the pieces right, but none of the footage that I had of it was really interesting enough to point out. However, the struggle of deciding how to get the rocket car to the North Pole was a little bit more interesting. So we are going to show the different iterations of planes that we tried in order to get this there. And then we are going to, in the end, we are going to get this rocket car to the North Pole. And then we are going to call it there. And in the next episode, that would be POV, which is going to be coming out on Monday, we are going to do our race. We're going to have both the KXP crowd and the POV test drive this thing and see who can get the faster speed, who can drive it more successfully, and who will survive. So I'm excited, and I hope you are as well. So let's take a look at some of the planes that I tried to make in order to get this up in the air and safely back down at the North Pole. So first up, we got this big old beast of an airplane using a Mach 3 cockpit and body, big old wings, and some Goliath engines, 4 of which was necessary to get thrust to weight ratio over 1. But for some reason, it just loved to turn off of the runway. It was hard to control at first, and it takes me a while to figure that out. Get myself up in the air, but not stably enough to keep myself there. So we're going to have to fix a few things if we want to take off correctly. Next attempt had us peeling off to the left instead of the right, so we're fighting it with our keyboard. Kerbals don't look very happy. Don't think they like this design. And then before I know it, it just starts pulling a hard right. Wants to head for the trees over there. So I decided, alright, well, let's just see if we can fly it wherever it wants to go. But it whipped back to the left and aimed for the buildings. Those Kerbals looked even less pleased. In the next one, I decided to use the space to the left of the runway as my runway, only to find that the trees and parallax continued to have collision to them as well. So now here comes my best attempt at it. Once again, peeling off to the side, but we managed to regain control. And right as we peeled off the land of the KSC, we get a little bit of air bouncing us upwards. I decided to extend the authority limit on that and give it a little bit more control, which is nice. And we finally find ourselves airborne. Slow going though, and our Kerbals don't look like they're really trusting this thing not to crash, but nonetheless we pull ourselves upwards and start our ascent. All in all, the design could be a lot better, but it is proof is there. It can lift. So now we just need to go and see if we can design it just a little bit better. Make it a little bit faster upon takeoff. So the only way we know how to do that is by strapping on more boosters. And so we get ourselves some nice SRBs to do a jet assistant or rocket assisted takeoff. Lose control a little bit, but nonetheless we are going fast enough to achieve some lift. So far it's seeming like it's a pretty good idea. We just need to figure out how to make it not turn off the runway. Just decide to use whatever it wants to take off. And this is, we don't even have Ferrum Aerospace Research installed, so these aren't even as realistic aerodynamics as they could be. As they are in RP1, so it's a little tough to struggle this hard with airplanes. But I've never really built planes to this scale before. I've never built large scale aircraft, and certainly nothing that has contained any kind of cargo. So it's a challenge. It's a new challenge for me. We ended up going with something completely different. Honestly, I think I should have gone back to this design. I feel like this was the best that we had created throughout. But nonetheless, I wasn't exactly happy with that. I felt that it could do a little better. So I decided to skip the actual airplane itself and just throw the jet engines on the actual rover itself. But this proved to be a little unwieldy, not really a great design. It did get airborne a lot easier though, which is nice to see, but ultimately we're going to change it yet again. I decided to just practice with just the airplane. If I could just get a working airplane going in the Mach 3 size, that may do me better, but try as I might, this thing just loved to take a bath. So I decided to forego the Goliath engines and go for the heaviest thrust jet engines that we've unlocked thus far. Took 4 of them to get a thrust to weight ratio over 1, which I know you don't need over 1 to fly. I know you can make it with less than that, but because of the fact that we were holding cargo, I wanted to make sure that we could maneuver well enough, and I wanted to get to a high enough altitude to save myself some time, because this is going to be a long flight to the North Pole. So for my final it I decided to go big and go home with 5 very large jet engines and some huge surfaces to hopefully maintain my lift. But all in all, this is still not exactly right. This is not going to work out. So even all the way this far down the runway, I still can't achieve enough lift to take off. I actually just have to fall off the runway, which typically means that you're not going to lift. So, time to go back to the drawing board. And as John F. Kerman once said, we choose to go to space. We choose to go to space not because it is easy, but because planes are hard. So, all that said and done, after all that testing and designing, I decided to just go back to the drawing board, throw it on top of a rocket, call it a day. So, let's go ahead and add some stabilizing clamps on the sides of that. Just keep it steady on the launch pad. I don't think they need it, but it's always nice to see. So make sure our stages are correct. It's a very simple, basically 2-stage to orbit sort of situation. However, we are not going to be orbiting with this. This is just going on a suborbital hop, just enough to get ourselves over to the North Pole and landed safely. We are going to check our roster before we launch. We have a new pilot for the KXP crowd, Jiafeng Kerman. Has no stars, so he has no ability to hold towards anything. We could have used Bartson, who would have been able to hold prograde and retrograde, but we do want to get Jiafeng some experience in the pilot seat. We're going to get rid of his RCS pack because we have no need for that. Let's save. Let's go ahead and launch. So now this is going to launch the rocket car for both the KXP and the POV crowd. They're both going to be able to utilize it. So KXP spent the time with their space station and their research lab that they put up in a previous episode. So they spent the time and effort to research on the science. So it's only fair that we spend the money to get the craft there. I'm really excited. This is kind of like a joint effort between the two series so far. A nice welcome back. Before we get back into it and start pushing full force ahead on going interplanetary, take a second and have a little fun. So the goal is to see how fast we can take this rocket car before it explodes or loses control, or we just simply run out of speed. We're not going to be setting any world records here, but this will be, the world record of the Janus Project. And we'll probably end up, once we get access to better technology or better control of the technology we have, we'll come back and do another land speed record race to see if we can get even higher, break the sound barrier maybe, but we'll see. So for now, we're just going through a pretty standard rocket launch. I'm just tilting to the north this time, and pretty soon we will separate our side boosters, and that will give us enough lift and boost so that way our middle stage can keep pushing forward up through the atmosphere. And we travel down with one of the side boosters to see the quiet life that they live after separation. Once again, we're back at the main rocket. We get to say hello to the Mun as we ascend. Apoapsis is steadily climbing. We're into the 50,000 range. We need to make sure that we break the Kármán line and get into space. And we're just going to tilt it down now that our apoapsis is past the Kármán line. We're just needing to get ourselves some forward distance. We learned a lot in our RP1 series trying to send a rocket 5,000 kilometers downrange, and That is, you need some horizontal momentum built up if you want to get any kind of distance. Trajectories mod is giving us the location of our landing point, which is crucial in a mission like this, but very helpful nonetheless, because when you come in through the atmosphere, your trajectory changes. The aerodynamic forces slow you down, so it's important to know where to stop burning. So something I'm kind of excited about, just a little side topic. I now own the studio version of DaVinci Resolve, and so now I have the ability of adding captions into my videos a lot more easily, so I don't have to rely on the auto-translated captions from YouTube. And so if subtitles and closed captionings are your thing, I will be having them on my videos moving forward. I'm very excited about that. I'm also going to be looking into translating into a couple different languages if I can, if it's easily done enough. If it's accurate enough, then I wouldn't mind doing that. So go ahead and check to see if that is the case, because if so, I think that'd be nice to have. But anyways, back to the video. We are now headed towards our drop point and flipping ourselves retrograde, because we do have a heat shield on the bottom of this fairing. We needed the fairing in order to absorb all the heat upon re-entry, because the different parts of the rover that stuck out became very susceptible to the re-entry effect. And Jiafeng has no ability of holding retrograde, he just has to pilot it the best that he can. Love the smoke coming out of the separate pieces in the Firefly mod. Such a nice touch that each piece that re-enters gets its own effect. And with that, our heat is done. All that for a short little jaunt up to the North Pole, like we've done before, like we may do again. But there we go, we jettisoned the fairing, exposing the land shark. We kicked off the heat shield, which is holding on for a little bit. It will until our parachutes deploy. We still have quite a bit of speed as we go through the clouds, but we flip around, say goodbye to our heat shield, and say hello to the Arctic tundra below. And with that, our parachutes open safely, and we start to descend at a very calm and even 6 meters per second. And with that, Jiafeng has made touchdown on the northern ice caps, and he gets ready to meet up with the rest of the crew, the POV crowd, and everyone else coming to see this history being made. But that will be in the next episode on Monday during the normal KXP POV time. We're going to have both POV and KXP race in the same episode, so we can kind of keep them together and show who does better. But before I go, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of my subscribers and everyone who has got it here. I officially passed the 1,000 milestone, and I am excited to move forward in this YouTube career. I never thought that I would make it this far, and so it's just blown me away to see all the support and read all the comments from you guys and hear your thoughts. So thank you again so much for all of the support. It really means a lot, so thank you. But anyways, that's where I'm going to leave today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're looking forward for more KXP. If you didn't think about subscribing, drop me a like, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.